If you have thin, low density, or fine curly hair and you're struggling with it looking very flat, maybe it looks see-through or your scalp is showing, then you're definitely in the right place. In this styling routine, I share 8 do's and don'ts that will make your hair appear fuller and thicker. And you won't want to miss number 7 because it could be why your hair is falling flat and not lasting by the end of the day. I also wanted to thank AG for partnering with me for this video. They're one of my favorite hair brands and they have 25% off site-wide going on right now through March 10th. So I will have those sale details in the description box down below. I'm starting out with clean hair that is ready for styling products. I actually already shampooed with the AG Balance shampoo and the Boost conditioner, which are a really great option for thin curly hair because they're strong but not too stripping, and they'll prevent your hair from being weighed down. Our first don't is styling soaking wet if you want volume. I actually prefer to style damp in order to achieve more volume. So you've probably heard me mention this in every single tip video, but styling on soaking wet hair can really reduce your volume. Try using less water when you're applying your products. You still need to make sure that your hair is evenly wet though, so it's not stringy or frizzy, but it doesn't need to be dripping all over the place. So I usually do a combination of both wet and damp styling. My hair is actually towel dried after I rinse out my conditioner. That's why I had it wrapped up in a hair towel, and then I just mist the links of my hair with water. I also brush through my hair so that way it's evenly wet and you don't see any patchy frizzy areas that are starting to dry. However, it's not so wet that my shirt is getting soaked or it's dripping all over the floor. Our next don't or mistake is using a ton of creams. This can be using heavy butters that are just too heavy and can weigh down fine curly hair or low density hair. And you also likely don't need to be using both a leave-in conditioner and a curl cream. So instead, just use a tiny amount of curl cream or leave-in and just focus it on dry areas. I'm using the AG Recoil Curl Cream because my hair is prone to dryness since it's medium to coarse textured. A little goes a long way with this stuff, so you only have to use a very small amount. I actually still applied too much even though I felt like I used the smallest amount, so I wiped a little bit off. But Recoil is great because it helps to clump and enhance your curl bounce. It's totally optional. You don't have to do this step. You can just use a light leave-in conditioner, or you could use the gel that I'm going to show you by itself. It's totally doable because it is very moisturizing. Just look at how my hair looks after combing through the Recoil. You can definitely see that bounce back and the clumping that I was talking about. So I find that both leave-ins and creams are not needed together because styling creams moisturize and they help to style the curls, whereas leave-ins only moisturize. However, leave-ins tend to be a bit more lightweight, so sometimes you'll see me just use a leave-in plus a gel or mousse only. Using gels that are very thick and sticky can be really difficult to apply, require soaking wet hair, and can even make thin hair appear more sparse and see-through. So opt for a gel formula that's more liquidy and thin in consistency. That way it's easier to apply and it can be used on damp hair. Lighter hold can also give the appearance of more fullness within. Now, you know that I always harp on the importance of a strong hold gel if you want frizz control and longevity, but you do get more volume when using lighter hold options. I actually consider Liquid Effects, which is what I'm using here from AG, to be a stronghold gel because I get the frizz protection and longevity of a stronghold gel, but it actually feels soft when it dries, so your hair doesn't feel super hard and you can soften it up. You can totally customize the hold of this too, so the more that you use, the stronger hold and the more cast that you'll get. So if you just want lighter hold for maximum volume, just use less of it. Also, the more cream or moisturizing products you use underneath your gel, the softer hold that you'll get from this gel and most gels as well. If you want stronger hold, skip the Recoil cream step. Liquid Effects is very moisturizing, so your hair shouldn't be dry, so you can just use Liquid Effects by itself. It's one of my all-time favorite gels because it has humidity blocking ingredients. It makes refreshing easy because it's very long lasting and it can be reactivated with just water. This is key because you don't want to be layering on more products on refresh days because that will just weigh down your thin hair. So when it comes to styling, you want to avoid over clumping your curls if you have thin hair. While curl clumps are great and they're really pretty, too thick of curl clumps will reduce your volume and can make your scalp show. Instead, you can create curl clumps but then separate them while your hair is still wet to avoid frizz. You can either do this with your fingers or you can use a wide tooth comb after you brush style. Skipping brush styling altogether might also result in more volume for you, but I do like to do some brush styling to help smooth out frizz. It also helps my hair not be stringy and frizzy by the end of the day when I brush style. This may be opposite from what you hear most of the time for achieving volume, but styling upside down can result in your scalp showing more and your hair becoming more tangled and your roots being flatter and more stretched out. Styling upright gives you more control over how your hair lays on top of your head. I can still achieve volume though by brushing my hair straight up when I'm in the upright position, and then I can carefully arrange my part to see how the hair is going to lay to better cover my scalp. It just gives me more control. I styled my hair upside down for the don'ts portion of this video, and it was the worst styling routine that I've ever done. My hair gets like Velcro when I try and brush it upside down and style it upside down. Even when I turn to the side to try and lift the hair up off the scalp, it just tangles up. It gets so matted. Even when it's soaking wet and has tons of slip, my scalp always shows. I get all this matting in the back. It's just not good for my hair type, so if you notice that and you're really struggling with styling, try it in the upright position. The upright position can give you more control over scalp covering, so if you struggle with cowlicks or your hair parting down the back like mine, use a handheld mirror so that way you can see the back as you're styling. Using a brush, comb the hair over where it's separated in the opposite direction. You don't have to brush all the way down to the scalp or mess up your clumps, just kind of gently go over it to cover cowlicks. Using a brush with dense bristles can also help with this. The further spaced your bristles are on your brush, the more separation that you'll get and the more the scalp will show. The way you part your hair can also affect the amount of root volume that you get. So you might want to opt for a messier part or a very short part like I usually do, just about an inch or two long, and then the rest goes back. Avoid a straight part that goes far back if you want root volume. And make sure when you're scrunching to scrunch all the way up to the roots so that way they're not stretched out. To cover some thinning areas around your hairline, you can try finger coiling baby hairs. This helps them curl better for me and prevents those shorter hairs from turning into a little puff of frizz. Avoid overclumping the hair beside it so the scalp isn't exposed in these areas. Another little tip if you struggle with the lines from any sectioning or just your scalp showing, you can kind of take your fingers and go underneath of your hair and shake out your roots a bit. This just lifts the hair up off the scalp and creates some space so that way it's not stuck down to your scalp. This step is optional, but I'm using the AG Mousse Gel for some extra volume and really focusing it around the root area. I love adding in volumizing products for an extra boost of volume. Foams and mousses can really help to plump and expand the curls. It can also help give your hair some grit too if your hair is overly soft or too silky and it won't hold volume. Mousse Gel contains rice amino extracts for curl enhancement and it's moisturizing. If you have fine hair, you could skip the recoil curl cream that we used previously and just use Mousse Gel if you don't need a ton of moisture. This is also very lightweight. I find that it provides a very soft hold for me, so I like to layer it with the gel. Then I like doing some microplopping, which is just where I take my hair towel and I scrunch out any excess moisture. If your hair is too wet or if you do like to style wet, make sure you are scrunching out that excess water before you start to dry your hair and you're going to get a lot more volume. If you think you might need some more hold or if you see some frizz form after microplopping, glaze in more of the Liquid Effects gel. You can experiment too with the order of styling products to see what gives you the best results. In general though, you want to use light hold products underneath and the strongest hold on top for maximum hold. When I use the foam that has no hold, I usually go with a foam first and then a gel. When using mousses, they may be a bit harder to brush through, so scrunching them in after styling and after gel may be best. This may soften your gel cast though, so you may need to go in with that extra layer of gel if you do want strong hold. Diffusing is probably the most important step in this entire routine if you want volume. Air drying will basically result in my hair looking the same as when it's wet, just dried. You can see when my hair is air drying on the don't side, it has so much more frizz, it's a lot flatter, and I don't get near as much volume. Plopping is also something that I don't usually recommend because it can kind of just smush your roots down against your scalp. It can press product into your scalp, which can lead to your scalp being very weighed down, and you can get scalp issues too if you leave it wet for too long. So I would avoid plopping and just do the micro plopping technique that I shared earlier. Diffusing gives you more control over how your curls are going to turn out. You can achieve more shrinkage if that's something that you're going for because the diffuser helps to set the curl shape. You also want to make sure that you're using a diffuser attachment where the prongs are long enough to where they extend outside of the diffuser bowl. This allows you to really lift the roots up for volume. Diffuse upside down for more root lift, and you can even flip side to side for more volume as well. This step is totally optional, but you can add some more height at the root by applying a few claw clips around the top of your head for volume. You can finish with diffusing or air drying with them in. If you prefer to only air dry it, use these root clips during the drying process to really give you more root volume. If you didn't already know, you can scrunch out the cast to reveal soft, fuller looking hair. The cast is crucial for hold, frizz protection, and longevity, and you can totally leave it in for longer lasting hair, but fluff it out for even more volume. This is why I love liquid effects, because my hair doesn't become frizzy the second I scrunch out the cast. Make sure your hair is fully dry though before you do this, because you can also get frizz if it's still damp when you're scrunching it. If your hair still frizzes up, then you didn't have enough hold in your hair. This can be from your gel not having enough hold, or not using enough gel, or maybe use too much cream or mousse underneath. If I'm seeing any curl clumps that look a little bit large for my liking, I just separate them by just gently kind of shaking them out. This gives me so much more volume and helps my hair look a lot less see-through. I also wanted to show you how my hair did on the don't side, where I over clumped my hair. So we talked about the importance of not over clumping your hair when it's wet, because if you go and try and separate those curl clumps once your hair is dried, you're going to end up with much more frizz. Now granted, in the don't side, I did have in a gel that didn't give me enough hold, but still you don't want to be separating really large curl clumps when your hair is dry. You can definitely tell a major difference in my hair between the do's and don'ts side. My hair has so much more volume, it has more fullness, more root lift. It looks so much better. It feels so much better. On the don't side, where I used way too much product, I used products that were too heavy. It just felt very greasy and producty feeling. The difference in the back of my hair is also crazy. So my scalp is showing so much more in the don't side because I styled upside down and I didn't implement all of those techniques that I showed you on how to cover your scalp, and it ends up very stringy too in the center of the back. Whereas on the do side, that side, I did more styling techniques to help cover the scalp and help to style the back of the hair. And before we hop into some bonus tips for low density hair, I just wanted to remind you to love your thin curly hair, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's not necessarily something that needs to be fixed. You can just learn to work with it by implementing these tips if you do want to help it look a little bit thicker, if that's the look you're going for. A bonus tip for achieving fuller, thicker looking ends is to make sure that you're getting very frequent trims. I actually just got my hair cut, and I've been going a lot more frequently to get my hair cut because my ends get so stringy and sparse, and I get so much more volume and fullness right after I get a haircut, even if it's just the tiniest trim. I will put up a picture here of my most recent trim. I barely got any taken off, but I can definitely tell that the ends are not as stringy and they look a lot fuller. I will link that Instagram post down below if you want to read about my haircut. I have it in the caption there on that post, but I've been trying to go a little bit more frequently just to maintain that fuller look. So if you notice that my hair is looking a lot fuller lately, it's probably from the haircut that I just got. Don't forget to check out the AG products while they are still on sale for 25% off. I will have those details in the description box down below, and I will also have my promo code that's good anytime if you're seeing this after the sale. And let me know in the comments if you need help picking out any other AG products. Their products are great. I really like their shampoos and conditioners, and of course the stylers that I used in this video. I also recently have been using their clarifying shampoo quite a bit. And if you didn't already see my recent video with AG, I will have it linked right here on the screen, but it's all about the common wash day mistakes that you might be making that are leading to a ton of wet frizz and tangles and hair breakage. So I'll have that linked right here on the screen, and I will talk to you over there. Bye everyone.